Well, this is the part of the show where if we had the Price is Right sad sound effect, we should be playing it. Won't, 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 won't.
Welcome to the Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? It's proclaimed the greatest radio show.
Welcome to the Week 8 Pick Show. I'm your host, Jim Sella, in studio with J Dash and JK47. Dash is going to give you some of our records. Hopefully he doesn't give my record. We're going to move on into the games after that and hopefully help make you some money this week. Just don't listen to me.
Yeah, we'll start with spread picks of the week here. All time, we're 48, 44, and 4 now. Creeping up on 500. We were way above 500 there for a while. This season, 16, 18, and 1. Spread majority, this season, 18, 16, and 1. In week 7, we went 2 and 3. So not terrible there. Still over 500 at least.
Putting in work.
47, you're still over 500 here. All time, you're 19, 18, and 1. You went 2 and 2 last week. Ended up not taking your 5th pick for the second time this season. We actually fired you for a little bit.
I was just going to say, you were fired. I forgot to tell you. By the way, you're fired. I'm Donald Trump, bitch. It was in your contract that if you didn't go above 500 last week, you were fired, and you failed to get in your 5th pick before we did the show, and you went 2 and 2. Therefore, you were technically fired.
So you're beat, man. You're not getting paid anymore.
Wait, we get paid for this?
This season, you're 16, 16, and 1, though. So you got to get back on track this week. Jim, 53, 70, and 2. 2 and 3 last week. You're 13, 21, and 1 this season. You going to turn it around this week, finally?
Dude, I'm 5-0, buddy.
I see you have Cleveland as one of your picks, so probably not.
Please believe, dude, they're going to cover. They're at home. They covered against Denver, didn't they?
Yes, they did. I am 54, 45, and 2. Last week I went 2 and 3. On the season, I'm 24, 14, and 1 still. So I'm doing all right. All time in regular season picks, I'm 49, 39, and 1. Easy. All time, he's 36, 42, and 2. He went 2 and 4 last week. He did win his college pop, though. He took Syracuse over Pitt, and they did cover. On the season, though, he's 15, 21, and 1, and that includes college. Johnny Parlay, he's not doing too bad. All time, he's 52, 54, and 4. Last week, he went 3 and 2, and he's 18, 16, and 1 on the season. He's 50, 46, and 2 in regular season picks all time, and he won at least 3 of his 5 picks 5 times this season in 7 weeks.
Why is he getting paid when he only shows up for work once this year?
Hey, he's making decent picks at least.
1 out of 8 weeks, dude gets paid. I'm here every week. I ain't getting nothing. I need to rework my contract.
47, we're going to start with you since you are 4 and 3 on the season in picks of the week. You're the only one of us to win your pick of the week this past week, actually. You're going with the Arizona game. Arizona's minus 4.5 at Cleveland, and the over-under is 46 in this game. Why are you saying Arizona?
I am saying Arizona. I just think that Cleveland's offense is going to be able to put up much against these Arizona Cardinals, and I'll tell you why. You know, Gary Barnidge, who's pretty much developed in their primary passing threat. I mean, Arizona does a very good job at shutting down the opponent's tight end. I think are going to get good pressure on whoever's playing quarterback up there. Who is it?
Well, Johnny Manziel was running with the starters in practice.
Yeah, McCown's hurt right now.
Well, that means I'm definitely going with Arizona. This line should be even higher now.
It will probably go up if Johnny Manziel does turn out to be the starter, I'd bet.
But at 4.5 points, I mean, Arizona's pretty much a safe bet here. I mean, even though Cleveland does do a good job on the opponent's passing attack, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what Chris Johnson and Andre Ellington can do against this Browns run defense, which actually is not that good at all. I think they're allowing, the second or third highest fantasy total points? Or
this isn't fantasy, man.
I mean, I'm just saying, though.
Real life. And I'll tell you what, if Johnny Manziel plays in this game, they got no shot. So if that happens, my pick changes.
Well, listen, Cleveland, they were my pick of the week last week because they were playing close games. I think they had 3 straight games decided by 3 points. So I took them as my pick of the week because the Rams were giving them, 5.5 or something like that. And they went into St. Louis and totally laid an egg. They lost 24-6. And then I look versus the Broncos. You remember they took them to overtime and only lost by 3. Like you said, they covered. But they also played the Raiders in their previous home game, and they lost by 7 in that game. They did not cover there. So I don't know. I'm not going back with Cleveland. I look at Arizona. Yeah, they lost 2 of their last 4 games. But in the 5 games they won this season, they've won each game by at least 8 points. So when Arizona wins, they win pretty handedly, and I think they're going to go in and beat Cleveland, especially if Johnny Manziel plays. If McCown plays, I mean, they have somewhat of a shot, I'd say.
Yeah, if McCown plays, they got a shot at covering, maybe not winning. If Manziel plays, they might as well not even play the game. Dude's being investigated by the league for smashing his girlfriend's head off a car window. I keep telling you this guy's garbage. I don't know why you keep sticking up for him.
Well, I just say give him a chance to play. I mean, you got to give him a chance to play when you draft him.
Well, he's just a garbage human being.
Well, that's fine. I have no problem with you saying that.
Screw that dude.
I don't know. I still think he's garbage both ways.
You can't believe it. Thank you, 47. Johnny Reed.
I wasn't big on him in college. I'm not even close to being big on him in the pros.
Believe it.
I mean, but who knows? I mean, he's still young, got a lot of time. Maybe a change of scenery would do the guy some good. But it ain't happening in Cleveland, I can tell you that right now.
Well, I'm a spread solo here, right, Dash?
All these picks have a spread solo going this week, and you're going spread solo on this.
Believe it. I got to get
and
that
why
wins
is that?
lead.
If McCown plays, you do like the weapons out there on the offense. That's
I just think they can
it.
cover. Yeah, they'll keep it close at home if McCown plays. He throws for big yards, man. Benjamin does good. Barnage does good. They're starting to move the running game by committee a little bit. Nobody kind of stands out on their own. But like 47 said, their rush defense is complete garbage. Arizona can run the ball, but they fall in love with throwing it. And sometimes Bruce Arians will fall in love with throwing it during a game. That could cause problems. Cleveland knows Carson Palmer, man. We've seen it. We played against Palmer just because he's with a new team. He still struggled against the Steelers. So I'm not saying it's definite, but I just think that Cleveland could lose this game maybe by like 2 or 3, especially when the line's going to grow. It'll probably be 6.5 by game time, and if it is, I definitely would take Cleveland.
I still don't know. I think teams have found out how to beat Cleveland, and that is running the ball. And we've seen Chris Johnson recently. He is running like a beast again. Mm-hmm. So I just think Cleveland, their defense, when you can't stop the run, you're not going to win many games.
Eddie B, let us know what you think. You're the Arizona expert, fool.
All right, let's move on here. Jim, we're going to go with your pick of the week next, the Green Bay game. Green Bay is -3 at Denver. This is probably the biggest game of the week. The over-under 45.
If you're one of the 23 people that have listened to our 3 and Out segment this week, you know that I picked, Denver to win this game, right? And then New England was going to give Denver their first loss of the season.
Yes.
I've changed my mind already.
I believe it.
Shocking, right? The Packers are going to roll into Denver. It's only 3 points. I'm not sold on Peyton Manning's arm. I know they're at home, but I think he's got a noodle arm. The week off might help. It'll give him a little bit of time to rest. Maybe he comes out and throws 1 or 2 touchdowns instead of 5 interceptions. But the guy's on pace for the most picks since his rookie year, the least amount of touchdowns since his rookie year, the least amount of yards in like the last 25 years. I think I've seen his forehead starting to shrink. And you know that's where he derives all his power from. So as his forehead gets smaller, his arm gets weaker, and the Green Bay Packers roll into town. Aaron Rodgers takes him to school.
Yeah, 6-0 versus 6-0. Green Bay, they've won all their games by at least 7 points. But you look at who Green Bay played on the road this season. They played at the Bears, beat them by 8. And they played at the 49ers. Only scored 17 points in that game and beat them 17-3. I think Denver is a much better team, and this is their biggest competition on the road this season. And Denver should be able to at least stay close in this game, and I think they're going to cover. In fact, I think they're going to go out and win this game, and I'm going to go with your original pick on your 3 and Out there and say Denver wins, and I'm going spread solo here.
Well, what this is going to come down to is pass protection. I think whoever does a better job at protecting your passer is going to come out as the victor in this game.
That's not the Broncos.
And I don't know. I mean, I just like Green Bay's offensive line better than what I like Denver's, and I like Aaron Rodgers over Peyton Manning. That's why I'm choosing Green Bay in this matchup.
Who's going to get it going, Lacey or Starks for the Packers?
Well, for my sake, I hope it's Lacey, but I mean...
Fantasy always swaying our decisions.
Always. It's a terrible, cruel practice.
Easy likes Green Bay. John likes Green Bay. Me and Jeff like Green Bay. You're wrong, Dash.
Well, listen, Green Bay got to start scoring points. They haven't scored over 27 points in their past 3 games. And if they only score 27, Broncos are going to keep it close enough to stay within this 3 points. And Denver's the best defense they faced so far.
Well, that'll be another key for Green Bay in winning his football game is actually getting Eddie Lacy going.
Believe it.
I believe so too, yeah.
If this line creeps up around 5, 6, or 7, though, I would start definitely to think about Denver. I like the 3 points because a field goal can push. If it gets lower, then I definitely still like Green Bay. But if it gets above 5, I'd definitely probably go the Broncos then.
All right, let's move on here. We're going to go with my pick of the week next. I'm 3-4 on the season in picks of the week, and I'm 12-6-1 all time in picks of the week. I'm going with the Minnesota game. Minnesota's -2.5 at Chicago. The over-under is 41.5.
You picked the most boring game on the NFL slate this week.
I'll tell you what, you can say it's boring, but Teddy Bridgewater had his best game of the season last week, and the Minnesota Vikings are starting to look like a pretty good team. I mean, they got a solid defense out there. Teddy Bridgewater, like I said, he's starting to look like a better quarterback. Stephon Diggs has come out of nowhere. He looks like Bridgewater's favorite target. Of course, they got the beast back in Adrian Peterson. I'm sure you love him, Jim.
I'd like him to do a little better, I'll tell you that.
Well, he's still a top 10 back.
I took him number 1.
Yeah, I get it.
Well, number 5 overall, but number 1 for me.
Well, I took C.J. Anderson 1.
Yeah, that's a beat.
Just 29 points allowed over the past 2 games. And Chicago, I mean, they're just...
Beat.
Yeah, they're beat. They're not scoring points really. They did go in and score 30 points for the first time this season last week at Detroit. But look, they had 23 versus the Packers, 23 versus the Cardinals, 0 versus the Seahawks, 22 versus the Raiders, and 18 versus the Chiefs. They're going to have to score more points in this game to win this game because the Vikings offense is starting to come around, and I like their defense as well. I don't trust Jay Cutler. I think this is a good line here. All they got to do is win by a field goal.
I agree. I like Minnesota in this football game. Bridgewater's starting to pick it up. Diggs out of nowhere. Peterson, I think he's going to have his best game of the season against the Chicago Bears defense. I just don't think Chicago has a chance. Minnesota's defense, as you were just saying, playing great right now. I just see all the positive upside coming from Minnesota. So the hell with Chicago, they suck.
I might not even be giving Minnesota enough credit on their defense. The most points they allowed this season was 23. And they've allowed 19 or less 4 times.
I don't know. I think I'm going to go opposite, mostly because I want to catch up and get back ahead
Spread
and win.
solo again.
Yeah, spread solo, going Chicago Bears. The only thing that I can say is I just have an inkling that Jay Cutler's going to put up some points this week. Alshon Jeffrey will put up some points, Matt Forte. Cutler doesn't turn the ball over a whole lot this week. The Bears are at home. A tough game. I mean, this is a division game, so anything can really happen. These two teams play each other a lot. I just think it's a surprise game, and I'm going to go out on a limb and take Chicago. But if you look at my record over the last 3 weeks, you might not want to agree with me.
Well, that's another thing I actually wanted to get at is Minnesota's sitting at a 4-2 record right now.
Yeah, they're playing great football. And look, their only loss in their last 5 games was at Denver by 3 points.
So, I mean, there you go right there. I mean, I actually said at the beginning of the year, this is a team that's going to challenge for a playoff spot probably.
Yeah.
So, and right now they're actually looking like they're heading in that direction. And quite frankly, I mean, with Teddy Bridgewater, showing signs of improvement drastically since the beginning of the season, I mean, this team's going nowhere but up.
Yeah, you remember that first game of the season. It was against the 49ers, and the 49ers went out there and smoked them 20-3. The offense got nothing going.
People thought the Niners were good.
Yeah, people were loving the 49ers at that point. All right, let's move on here. We're going to go with Easy's pick of the week next.
Where's he at?
He is 3-4 this season in picks of the week, 8-10-1 all time. So not terrible. He can get back on track this week.
I think he's drinking somewhere right now.
He's going with the New York Jets -2 at Oakland. The over-under is 44.5.
This is an interesting game. The Jets are clearly the better team, but they have to travel all the way across the country. I think the quarterback matchup, I've been tough on Derek Carr, but I think he may have the edge over Ryan Fitzpatrick right now. He's playing well. Amari Cooper's playing well. Latavius Murray's playing well for the Raiders.
Crabtree's been decent.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't been too bad. But the Jets, they went in, they played serviceably against the Patriots this last week. I like Brandon Marshall. Eric Decker's a good player. Chris Ivory, is he still leading the league in rushing? He was, I think, at some point in the year. This is a good team. The Jets have a good defense. Rivas, Cromartie, their D-line is stout. Their linebackers are playing well. I think they can actually go across the country, and they can win this game. I think whoever wins it will be on a last-minute field goal. It's going to be the last drive, and they're going to kick a field goal. So this line's staying at 2. It could go either way, but I'm going to go with the Jets. I think Fitzpatrick just outplays Carr a little bit. I think Carr might press a little bit too much. This is one of those young teams trying to become great. They might start trying to do a little more than they should, and the Jets get out of there with a couple turnovers and win this football game.
Yeah, the Jets had New England on the ropes for a little bit last week, and I really think the Jets have a very good team here, especially with how Ryan Fitzpatrick has been playing over the past couple weeks.
That dude breaking Geno's jaw was the best thing that happened to this organization.
And you've seen these corners. They shut down LaFell and Edelman last week. Amendola was the one that had the best game. Does Oakland have that third receiver outside of Cooper and Crabtree that can come up with that big game? That's one question. But then this offense of Oakland, it looks good at times, it looks bad at times. And then when I really look at their schedule, they played the Ravens and scored 37 points. You know the Ravens don't have a good defense this season. They played the Browns, scored 27 points. The Browns don't have a very good defense this season. They played the Bears and only put up 20 points. And you know the Bears, their defense has been playing a little bit better than we thought this season, but they're still not a good defense. And they put up 37 on the Chargers, who aren't a very good defense either. And then the two defenses they played that were good, the Bengals and the Broncos, they put up a combined 26 points in those games, lost both of those games. And I think the Jets defense compares to the Broncos, one of the better defenses in the league. And I actually think Oakland's offense is going to struggle in this game to score points. So I'm going to say with this line only being -2, I'm definitely going with the Jets in this game because they look like one of the better teams in the AFC right now.
Jets, 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 Jets. All three of us, right?
We're all going Jets.
The
spread solo in this one is Johnny Parlay going with Oakland. He's seen what Oakland did against San Diego last week, and that was in San Diego. They went out and put up huge points. Phillip Rivers was not on his game, though, either. But either way, they went out and put 37 points up in that game. But San Diego's defense does not compare to the Jets, and anytime Oakland plays a tough defense, that offense really struggles.
See, that's where I was going to get at. I just don't see Oakland playing well against this Jet defense. You know, especially with those cornerbacks, you know, the tough defensive line, I don't think are going to get any ground on in the running game.
47, could you play quarterback and play well against the Jets?
Yeah, maybe if I grew a foot and could see over the defensive line, that'd be great.
All right, let's move on. Johnny Parlay's pick of the week. He's 3-4 this season, and he's 11-13-1 all time. Going with the New England game. Miami at New England. New England is -8. The over/under 51.
This is coming from a guy who always tells me I take front runners and I take favorites, and then he takes the New England Patriots. I mean, come on, man. Although I do agree with him. They're going to roll Miami. Everybody's real big on Miami right now. They fired Joe Philbin. Dan Campbell took over, got this team all fired up. He's yelling and screaming, running the Oklahoma drill. People were hitting each other. They're probably punching each other in the locker room for fun. They're not punching each other like Geno Smith just because he sucks. But the Dolphins are fired up. The whole city's fired up. The country's all fired up about them. They're going to go into New England, who almost lost at home last week to the Jets, and Tom Brady's just going to smoke these fools. The New England Patriots, I'm pretty sure Brady's only lost like 4 or 5 games in his whole career to AFC East opponents. I just don't see Miami having a chance to win this football game. They could cover because it's a big line, -8, but I still think New England even covers the big line. Brady puts up mad points.
I actually went back and looked, man. Miami always plays New England tough, actually, and they beat them a few times. Miami has went out and beat Tom Brady a few times. The one Tom Brady that always beats is Buffalo, actually. And when I look at New England, do you know 4 of their 6 wins have been by 8 points or less, actually? The only 2 wins that were by more were the Jaguars and the Cowboys, 2 terrible teams. And Miami, they're riding high right now. Their offense looks great. And as many points as New England can score on the offense, their defense isn't that great. And I think Miami's going to keep rolling offensively, but their defense is going to have a letdown this week. But I think both teams are going to score a lot of points in this game, and Miami is going to be able to keep up with New England. And I definitely think they're going to cover this -8.
Well, this game was definitely, in my opinion, one of the more difficult choices out of all the games this week. I mean, 8 points is obviously a big spread to cover, but I mean, aside from that, I mean, it's tough. I mean, given how the Dolphins have played lately, and I don't, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, I actually went with New England with this pick. I actually had to kind of bite my nails whenever I was making my picks this week, because who knows? I mean, Miami could very well go up there and win.
Yeah, I mean, I looked. The Colts put up 27 against New England 2 weeks ago. The Jets put up 23 last week. The way Miami's offense is playing right now, I wouldn't be surprised if they put up 27, 30 points in this game. And I just don't see New England's only put up 34 points or less in the past 3 games. Now, if they score 34 points, I don't see that as enough to cover that line.
It's a biggie. This is going to be New England's game where they just blow.
It could be.
out.
I mean, I'm definitely not.
It's a Thursday
sure
night
on
game. It's a short week. If you have a team that's a lot better than the other team, you usually see it. I mean, it's exposed. And I'm not saying the Patriots are a lot better than the Dolphins, but we're going to find out how much better they are in this game because, the Dolphins, they got the players there. It looks like they have the right leadership in with Dan Campbell, but can he outcoach Bill Belichick? You know what I mean? We seen Cowher get outcoached by everybody has been outcoached by Belichick and is cheating over time. So can Campbell have the right game plan, or will Belichick be able to kind of watch what they've done over the few games that Campbell's had them, devise a plan against it, and completely shut it down? Because that's what he's really best at.
Well, the big key with Miami's resurgence has been their rededication to running the football.
Believe it.
You look at Tannehill last week.
Really turned it around, too.
Well, when you run the football, it makes it easier for the quarterback to play, obviously.
But I think this game, it comes down to New England's defense. Are they going to be able to stop Miami's offense? Because we know New England's going to score the points they need to win this game. It's all about, is Miami going to go out there and what have they put up over the past couple of weeks? They put up 82 points in the past 2 games. I mean, if they go out there and put up 30-plus points, it's going to be a little bit too much for this line.
It'll be hard to cover. Well, tell me this. What about a survivor pick? Because New England is my survivor pick this week. How do you feel about that?
See, that scares me. I'd take New England against pretty much any other team outside of Miami. Miami always seems to give New England fits in some way or another.
But it's at home. Usually Brady loses at Miami.
I agree. I mean, it's they've got a better chance of winning than losing.
New England's record at home is just absolutely ridiculous with Belichick and Brady. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's so good.
Survivor pick, I would go with St. Louis this week, I believe.
Block them, dude. I'd never take them.
Well, look, it's San Francisco at St. Louis. St. Louis just went out and smoked Cleveland, a team that's been playing pretty tough against some pretty good opponents recently. And San Francisco is just not a good team at all. I think St. Louis's defense may be the best in the league, if you ask me. I think they're going to go out there and smoke San Francisco.
It's me and 5 other people left. And as soon as I put my pick in last week, we're in a Facebook group together. Everybody immediately picked the same thing I did. It was a bunch of BS.
How about your survivor pick? Anything?
My survivor pick. I don't know, man. I'll tell you what. I kind of want to go with Indianapolis.
You're feeling Indy at Carolina?
I am.
That's a scary ass pick.
I'd take Indiana against the line. Do you know Carolina's -7 in that game?
Well, that's kind of why I want to go with Indianapolis. And
the line doesn't matter.
I guess the line doesn't. But
all you gotta do is win.
Indianapolis got to go in and win that game. Now, if you took Carolina, I kind of like that.
Even that scares me. You never know. Luck might go beast mode.
Yeah, I'm not taking it. No survivor pick for 47. Wrap it up.
Yep, that's it.
No, I'm going in. I'll go with Indy.
Oh, by the way,
stand true.
Easy hit his pop of the week, his college pop of the week. So next week, if he actually comes to work and he gives it to you, you might want to take that because he's made some cash. But that's all we got, fans. Hit us up on Twitter at bet_the_spread. Hit me up on Twitter at betjimthewin. Check out the Facebook page at facebook.com/betthespread. Keep coming back to YouTube and clicking subscribe. Let us know if there's any other games you want us to talk about. Future weeks, past weeks, present weeks. I mean, whatever, man.
Yeah, I can give you the winner on every game from week 1 through week 7.
Believe it, dude. I won't be wrong at all. So if you need them, Hit me up.